taking him down.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with New York Giants legend and South Carolina Hall of Famer Corey Miller and his son, four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Knocked down again. It was Christian Miller.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are ready to dive into some more Vanderbilt talk. I know we've been doing plenty of it, but we'll continue to do that. Plus, got a couple other conversations that I want to throw out there that I think are pretty interesting given where we're at in the college football season. Again, it's starting to pick up, Chase. I mean, I know, you look at it and you're like, it's still early, but at the same time, I mean, this is game number 5 for Alabama, technically week number 6 in college football. So, I mean, it's starting to pick up the pace a little bit. Kind of interesting to say, I mean, it started slow, in my opinion, and now it's really it's getting there. But hope it don't fly by too fast, because obviously this is probably, I could speak for everybody when I say this, the favorite time of the year for pretty much any sports fan. And but in sports news, I forgot to throw this out there. Obviously, we now know who's going to be performing at the Super Bowl. I know it's a little bit random, but saw that Bad Bunny got the nod, and I'm excited for it. Obviously, somebody that's learning Spanish. I like Bad Bunny. I think he's great. Chase, you got any thoughts? Reed, y'all have any thoughts on Bad Bunny being selected? I know there's some people, of course, there's always going to be people complaining about some. I think there's some people that were complaining that, why would you pick, like Latin American artists like that? Somebody who doesn't really, I mean, I'll be honest, even as someone who, I would say I'm pretty fluent in Spanish at this point, I have a hard time understanding half the crap that he says because he's got such a strong accent. So I think some people are just like, oh, man, we're not going to be able to understand. Chase, any thoughts on Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl?
Man, I love it. Nothing wrong with a little spice in your life. That's what I say. I think a lot of people are fans of Bad Bunny. Christian, you'd be surprised. I think it'll add a lot of just culture to the halftime performances. I think you think of like Michael Jackson, Prince, Shakira, so many other people that have been influential in the music business. I think it'll open up, especially, like nothing wrong with what the NFL has been doing from years to years, but I think having something new, something fresh, trying to reach a bigger audience, especially like, our ages and stuff like that, it will grow the sport in ways that grow the NFL in ways that I don't think people realize. But if you're not really a fan of it, all I ask is you just look into his music, really see who Bad Bunny is, his upbringing, and why he's blown up the way he has. So I was super excited to find out that Bad Bunny, especially his wrestling skills. I'm not going to jump on that, but yeah, I love the Christian.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that you made a good point in terms of, broadening the the outreach, right, of fans of the NFL football. I had, my friend Jason, who joins the chat, Compact, shout out to him. He immediately, when he heard the news, he asked me, when's the Super Bowl? Now, he's been asking me about football. He wants to learn about the game. But still, the fact that here's a guy from the Dominican Republic that all he knows is, Bad Bunny's performing at the Super Bowl. And granted, he's heard of the Super Bowl, but now he's going to be tuning in. You made a good point. I didn't really even think about that. I mean, they're going to capture a lot more eyes with him performing, because a lot of people in, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, other, Latin American countries that they don't really know much about the game, but they're going to tune in to see Bad Bunny, which they're going to tune in to watch football, and maybe they pick up a lot more fans, which we know it's evident with the NFL scheduling that they've been playing overseas, whether it's Europe, Latin America, wherever, pretty much everywhere in the world at this point. They want to expand the game. So I think from that standpoint, you're 100% correct. Bottom line is, he really wasn't chosen for that. I just think you're right that is a good byproduct of him performing. He was chosen because you're talking about arguably one of the biggest artists in the world, regardless of language or genre. I mean, Bad Bunny is Bad Bunny, right? I mean, everybody has heard his music one way or another. And I'll say this too, for people that are like, oh man, well, we don't speak Spanish, we're not going to understand. Guys, how many like Spanish songs, like let's just think about it, like Gasolina, that comes on. No one ever understood what Daddy Yankee was saying on Gasolina. Everybody just loved it. It's like the beat, the rhythm, all that good stuff. It's no different with Bad Bunny, man. I mean, a lot of Spanish speakers don't really understand half the stuff he's saying. Like, believe it or not, I've talked to a lot of different, Spanish speakers, from Mexico, other places where their accents is way different. They don't even really understand a bunch of what Bad Bunny's saying, but it makes great music. But I think it's going to be good. Really good entertaining. Like you said, he's even stepped in the wrestling ring. Just seems like a cool guy, man. So I thought that was cool. Another thing I wanted to throw out there, and we'll talk about this a little bit more when we come back. I saw this tweet. I think it was yesterday, and it was talking about Ty Simpson. Again, we know he's coming off a big-time performance on the road at Georgia, right? I think he totaled 288 yards, 3 touchdowns in that game, but obviously just his ability just to operate, command, and lead his team to victory, I think was probably the most impressive thing, the accuracy, the pocket awareness, the leadership. But he's finally really starting to pick up that recognition that he definitely deserves, right? I know we've been talking about his play the past couple of weeks, and people were commenting on it, but still you see the Heisman odds coming out. Not too much movement there, but then you go on the road and you beat a team like Georgia, and you do it in that fashion. Well, he's finally getting that recognition. Leads me to this tweet. They said Ty Simpson might be, and I'll put this on the stream again, at the Miller's Edge on X and on YouTube is where you can find the stream. Ty Simpson might be the hottest quarterback in college football right now. Multiple NFL scouts reportedly believe Simpson has first-round potential. At Georgia, Simpson recorded 288 total yards, 3 total touchdowns, and a win. Against Wisconsin, Simpson recorded 407 total yards, 4 total touchdowns, and a win. Simpson has yet to even throw an interception on the season, which I don't think I've done a good enough job commenting on that. The fact that we've done such a great job protecting the football is really impressive. The Crimson Tide quarterback is going to be a special prospect. So the reason I brought that up is we've been so locked in on our opponents and breaking stuff down that I know it's kind of early to talk about this, but I just want to throw this out here and we can talk a little bit about it today since we have plenty of time. And I know everybody that's a Bama fan is going to immediately say, oh, of course he's a first rounder. But genuinely, I want to get your thoughts. Do you feel like he is on track to really put himself in that first round conversation? Going into the year, he didn't really have many people saying such things, right? I mean, there's a lot of talk about all these, not even think about it, even in the conference. There's a lot more talk about Lenore Sellers, Florida's quarterback. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
DJ Lagway.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I almost called him DJ. I knew it was DJ, but I almost said Ungle or whatever the other guy's name is. Thank you, Chase. Yes, you got him, right? There's a lot of talk about Mateer from Oklahoma, who was playing really good football. Obviously, he got injured, but you guys are catching my drift. There was talk of Nussmeier from LSU, 4 or 5 other SEC quarterbacks, even A&M's quarterback before Ty Simpson. But now Ty is arguably playing better than all those guys. And so I'm just curious on y'all's thoughts. Do you think if he continues on this trajectory, do you think he's solidifying himself as that first round talent? Because if he does, obviously he ends up leaving. And that makes the whole other dilemma that we've been talking about on the show for some time now. What do you do going into next year, right, at the quarterback position, knowing that you have so many guys? Ty technically has an extra year. It makes everything kind of fall into place a lot better, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there so you can think about it, because I wanted to talk about that and what Ty's been doing and how he's been grabbing the attention of a lot of people at the next level. We got to hit our first time out. We come back. We start diving into a number of things. We will continue to talk about Vanderbilt. We are open on the phone lines. 205-342-9904 is the number. We'll do all that when we come back after this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
Kentuck Art Fest.
See what we got. Ryan, what's up? Good morning. Chow from Atlanta. Phil, what's going on? Mike, my guy, what's up? Dwight, what's up? Ain't no way you said who the hell is Bad Bunny. That's got to be a joke, man. That's got to be a joke. You know who Bad Bunny is. There's no way you don't. If you don't, look him up. It's probably the hottest, I guess, Latin American artist, but really one of the. You say you're serious. Damn, you don't know who Bad Bunny is? You've heard some of his music. I would play it here, but you got copyright. Dr. Crystal, what's going on? What's up? Arthur, what's up? Yeah, look him up, man. I would say he's like the Drake of the Latin American world. He's Puerto Rican, is what he is. He's from Puerto Rico. But I mean, like in terms of like his status of like as an artist, I mean, he's like not even just in the Latin American world, but I mean, even like in general. I mean, this dude is like he's up there. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna be biased. I mean, I'm learning Spanish and all that, so I love it. I think it's cool. Cool to mix it up. I'm trying to think if Ryan says you never heard of him. I promise you guys have probably heard his music. Now that I think about it, though, I guess if you're using a lot of commercials and advertising, exactly that's why I'm shocked that they're not too familiar with it. Superfly. And what'd you say? I saw you type something up there. I'm going to be honest. Stop caring about the Super Bowl halftime show a long time ago. No specific reason. Just don't care too much about it. I don't blame. I'll be honest. I feel like it hadn't been. I feel like it's been a little bit different recently. It hadn't been the same as how it's always been. I did like the one from a few years ago where they had like it was like 50 Cent, Eminem, Dr. Dre. Excuse me, it's a little bit of a throwback. I thought that one was good. Kendrick Lamar's, it was all right. I think they just were trying to capitalize off the whole him and Drake beef thing. And to me, I just was like, I feel like it was a little late for all that. Let's see what else we got. I do want to get to, let me see. I will put up one of the songs, but it's going to get copyrighted. Let's see. Where did we leave off yesterday? Oh, I think the teleconference. We hit the teleconference yesterday. Let me just throw some practice highlights on the screen for now. We're getting old. Yeah, man. No, for real. Nah, definitely, man. I just can't believe you guys haven't heard of Bad Bunny like that. They probably have heard some of his music, but just don't know. So, because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the name Bad Bunny, if you're not really familiar with him, you just hear that and you're like, who the hell is that? But his music is a good vibe, though. I mean, it's like you'll like it. You'll like it. And I mean, I think he's a hell of a performer too. I mean, that's going to be really entertaining too. Just ask your kids. Yeah, you can always do that. That's always
last 40 years. In 15 minutes, a licensed insurance agent found me a $500,000 policy for only $16 a month. And my husband got a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Plus, we qualified for same-day life insurance. No medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. With SelectQuote, even if you have a health concern, be it high blood pressure, diabetes, even heart disease, their experienced agents can find you the right life insurance policy at the lowest price. Make life insurance the first resolution you check off your list this year.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-989-4040 to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-989-4040. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-989-4040. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here.
Roll Tide, sorry for being late. I said, no, dude, man, y'all don't have to apologize, man. Y'all are so respectful. Y'all are fine, man. You do not have to apologize, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Talking some ball, man. Yeah, y'all don't ever have to apologize about that, brother. Man, you guys know how we are, man. We're just chilling. I'm pulling up these stats, so I want to talk about the Ty Simpson talk first. But again, try your best not to be biased. I know we all are, Bama fans, and obviously we're going to say, hey, we want our guy in the first round, but
Country for your
you guys know how we are, man. We want to talk facts. So I want to get y'all's thoughts on that, though. Where you feel like Ty Simpson's putting himself at right now in terms of his draft status?
Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Title 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Make sure you guys check them out if you're dealing with any type of pain, foot pain, knee pain, back pain, hip pain, you name it. They will take care of it right there at the Good Feet Store with those premium arch supports designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain in just 4 short weeks. So make sure you guys take advantage of those. Right now, Midtown Village, where they're located here in Tuscaloosa, all over the country. Make sure you go to their website, goodfeet.com, schedule an appointment, find the nearest location to you. That is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. All right, so I wanted just to throw this out there again. I know this is just a quick little sidetrack here, but I saw that tweet that we discussed in that first segment about Ty Simpson working himself into that first round conversation, right? And I know some people might say, oh, well, we thought he was going to have a great year. I'm not talking about as a fan what you thought or I'm saying the reality was on draft boards, he was not in the first round conversation going into the season. That's just a fact. Yes, people are excited about his potential, his expectations, all that good stuff, but he wasn't even the top guy being talked about in the conference, right? Again, we mentioned those other names: Lagway, Lenore Sellers, Nussmeier, Mateer, even A&M, their quarterback. I mean, people felt like they're naming everybody but Ty, right? But now, through 4 games, Ty has put the whole, I guess, league in, not just this league, right? Not just NCAA, but also the NFL on notice. And so that leads me to this quick little conversation is, do you guys feel that what Ty Simpson has done through 4 games has put him on that first round, I guess, radar, right? I know it's still way too early to say that, right? Trust me, I know that as good as anybody, but do you guys genuinely feel like that? I'll start. I mean, I'll be honest, in terms of what he's done and how it compares to a lot of other guys at the position throughout college football, I think he's been playing the quarterback position at its highest level as damn near anybody through 4/5 games, depending on if people had a bye or not. But he's been extremely impressive. You know, I know everybody throwing that week 1 game is kind of like that game. But really, if you go back and watch the tape, I mean, while it definitely won a great performance, it really wasn't as bad as it might have initially seemed, especially if you go back and watch it. But just what he was able to do against Wisconsin, who had a solid defense, and then also Georgia, I mean, he's been nothing short of impressive. So for me, my answer would be I think he's definitely on track. Now, you obviously have to finish the right way, but looking at what he's shown, right, not just numbers or wins, it really is, to me, it's what he's shown. And what that is the poise, right, in the pocket, the command of the offense, just seeing him go through his checks pre-snap. I mean, so he's checking, so what I'm getting at is he's checked so many boxes for me through 4 games that I feel like he's going to just continue to do that. I mean, whether it's, being a student of the game, understanding coverage and understanding how to get his guys in and out of things, right? You can check that box. You got to be able to do that at the pro level, right? Some quarterbacks in college, they get away with some stuff because they're in a system where it's a lot of stuff is predetermined. They're doing things that helps them really, boost their numbers. They're not really relied on to do as many things. But the pro level, I mean, you're talking about, it's all about those defenses. They disguise a whole bunch, right? You're seeing a whole bunch of different looks, pressures. They throw a lot at you pre and post snap. Well, he's checking that box. He's going to be capable of handling that, right? I mean, he did it against Georgia, who's arguably one of the most complex defenses that he's probably going to see this season. I mean, he passed that test with ease, in my opinion, right? So he checked that box, right? The ability to move around the pocket, his awareness, stepping up, right? Not afraid to take a hit. He checks that box, right? Footwork has looked good to me. Mechanics has looked really good. And then obviously just the accuracy, his throwing ability. I mean, he's been rock solid there as well. I'll be honest. And then what we're not really talking we haven't really, but we probably should. he hadn't turned the ball over, knock on wood. I got a wooden desk right here. Don't worry, I'm knocking on it. I think that's been so impressive, right? I mean, because think about how many times you see a quarterback, you're like, man, this guy's got an arm, all this potential. But then, you're like, all right, well, they're a little testy. They've got some interceptions, which he's going to end up throwing a pick here or there. I mean, I wish he'd stay perfect, but it's the game of football. It's just not realistic. But you get what I'm saying? Like, with him, I mean, I feel like he's just there hasn't really been a piece of his game. Hell, I forgot to even mention. I mean, he's athletic. And I'm not trying to glaze him, right? I'm just being honest. I mean, you turn on the tape, there hadn't really been too many butts, like Coach Saban always says, right? They're always scouts and coaches and NFL person. They're always looking for butts, right? You want to get them more ands, right? He can throw the football, and he's got a good IQ, and he's athletic, and he has good awareness. But the butts, you want to limit those. I haven't really seen too many butts, right? When it comes to his game right now. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect, but I feel like he's just been exceptional with pretty much everything. So to me, Chase, I think he absolutely is working himself in that direction. Now, he's got to continue to do it at a consistent level, which, I'd imagine so that would be the case. Probably going to be some things here and there, down the road as, you continue through the season. But I've been nothing short of impressed. What about you, Chase? What would you say after seeing Ty through 4 games? I mean, would you agree with the tweet that, he's definitely working himself in that conversation? Just real quick, just to give you these numbers. Right now, he does rank 3rd in passing in the conference behind John Mateer and Joey Aguilar, who Aguilar has also played 5 games, by the way, versus the 4 games that Mateer and Ty have both played respectively. But again, no turnovers. I think nationally he ranks in terms of passing, I think probably like 35th. He's already at, how many passing yards does he have? I think he's around 1,100 right now. He's made some plays with his legs. Then obviously we just talked about all the other great things that he's been doing that might not necessarily show up on a stat sheet. Chase, what do you think, man? You think Ty's playing himself into that first round conversation so far through 4 games?
I agree 100% with you, Christian. Kind of looking at his stats and just kind of what stands out to me really is his completion rating.
Mm-hmm.
It skyrockets from Florida State to ULM to Wisconsin to UGA, and that's important in the NFL, man. And if you can really get your wide receivers in the position for them to make plays, the sky's the limit. I think Ty, coming into this season, a lot of people didn't know much about him. He sat for a couple of years. People were kind of doubting him, and they didn't know what to expect. And for Ty to play the way he's doing it, leading the offense in a way that is so important for Alabama right now and their success, and people around him are playing better. Isaiah Horton, Ryan Williams, even though he's kind of having a little bit of a bump right now, he's elevating his game. The running game is starting to open up because there's a passing game involved. I think Ty is definitely, if he continues this streak of his great play and being able to manage the game in a way that he's able to put his offense in a position to win, I think if he continues, he'll probably be the best quarterback, I think, in the country. I don't think anybody's playing any hotter, any better. Because at first, I thought it'd be Cade Kublik at Clemson. I thought he was going to skyrocket, but then he's kind of having his woes a little bit. So, but college football is a tricky sport. That's why pre-rankings are so interesting to me, because I didn't see anybody have Ty Simpson, outside the SEC, right, as one of the quarterbacks to lead the charge. And look at him now; he might even be in New York, having a little speech of his own. So, but I'm rooting for Ty. I'm proud of him, and I think it's remarkable to see how much of his play is really coming to fruition.
Yeah, and the only thing I will say though is the NFL draft is tricky because it's not about numbers necessarily or what you do. Obviously that is one of the things they look at, right? Production. They want to see that. But I know from experience, man, I mean, like there's guys that get drafted that might have 4 career sacks, but they're 6'5", or 250, they run a 4.4, and they're salivating at the fact that this guy has all the potential in the world. And there's other guys that are production machines, All-Americans, and they end up going undrafted. Maybe the measurables aren't there. There's other concerns, right? But I think when you look at Ty, I will say this because I saw an interesting comment. This is a fair point. It said, better question is, out of the quarterbacks that are draft eligible, who would you take before him? Very weak class this year. I mean, it depends on what you call weak, right? I feel like there's definitely been weaker classes, but here's the only thing that's going to make it interesting, right? You got Carson Beck, who's been playing some good football down in Miami, right? You mentioned Cade Klubnik. Going into the year, a lot of people thought he could have been one of the top quarterbacks taken off the board. He's been pretty disappointing thus far, as well as Clemson as a whole. And, you know, I don't know what they've got going, but you got guys like Drew Aller, who people thought last year could have been a top quarterback taken potentially, decided to come back to school. Obviously, he's going to have a lot of eyes on him. Dante Moore for Oregon is playing some really good football right now. So I do think he's going to obviously get a lot of eyes. Arch Manning, we all know the attention that he's grabbing, but if you look at how he's playing right now, I don't think the potential or the name can save him from him not producing, right? So we'll see how that ends up playing out. We know preseason everybody thought he was all world, going to be the guy, right? Garrett Nussmeier, really good player as well. So, I mean, and there's conversations about him being one of the top guys. So, and then Mateer, who's playing some really good football for Oklahoma, obviously just got hurt, had to have surgery. Lenore Sellers, another guy, you talk about combination. Oklahoma obviously just got hurt. Oh, wow. Had to have surgery. Sorry, the Lenore Sellers, another. I had the stream accidentally, I guess, pull up on its own. It was repeating. That was weird. Sorry for the echo there. But what I'm getting at is, guys, that there's going to be other guys, too, that potentially are in that conversation. They might not have the season that Ty has or is having, but off of potential, right? Like a Lenore Sellers, right? I can see Ty Simpson having a better year than Lenore's, but Lenore's could potentially be taken higher than him based off potential. That's what I'm getting at. That being said, depends how many quarterbacks end up being taken, right? And who really needs a quarterback. I mean, I don't know exactly how the draft goes. There's always trades and things. You got to see how the year ends and all that. But I'm looking at this latest mock draft this is from CBS. Now, I don't know if this is this guy's specific mock draft, but just to give you guys an idea on where people are kind of leaning right now, this guy or CBS, whichever one it is, has Lenore Sellers being number 1 overall to the New Orleans Saints. Then he's got 2 defensive players after that. Well, 3, right? Because you've got Bain from Miami, who is a dog off the edge, right? Going to the Carolina Panthers, which I don't know why we just didn't re-sign Burns, but they definitely need some pass rush help for sure. Peter Woods, then Caleb Downs, right? Then he's got a tackle. But then he's got Dante Moore as the second quarterback, then John Mateer. So you guys are getting what I'm saying. And then Garrett Nussmeier. So right now, people still are kind of leaning towards some of those other names that we mentioned. But that's why I'm throwing out this conversation just for fun, because as you guys can see, even Mendoza, right, they've got him up there. So you guys are catching my drift. As good as Ty is playing, that's why this is actually a conversation, because you'd be surprised. Some people in the draft world, they still don't really have him climbing as fast as you might imagine. And that's why I wanted to put this question out there. Me personally, I do feel like by the end of the year, he'll start working himself up into these conversations. I truly do. But I also know, potential side of things, there's going to be a couple of quarterbacks that are going to get, a lot of attention in that first round conversation because of that alone. But to me, Chase, just to put a bow on this, and I'm going to read all y'all's thoughts in the comments here. And if you guys listening via radio, drop an app message or call in if you guys want to discuss this. I definitely would love to. When I just look at him, like the way he operates, I mean, he very much gives like that pro feel. He plays like a pro style quarterback. Like I could really just see him translating really nicely at the next level. But even regardless if he's a first round pick or second, whatever the case may be, like to me, he really kind of gives me that vibe that he's going to be a good pro, because he does a lot of the things that you have to do at the pro level really well. Versus some of these guys, like they're very talented throwers, like I mentioned earlier, right? But they still got to learn how to be a pro quarterback. There's a big difference from a lot of the systems you see in college versus what they're going to be required to do in the pros. And I think Ty is going to be one of those picks where almost like remember like JJ McCarthy from Michigan, right? To me, like he kind of gave that vibe, and he ended up, being a top pick. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he was a good player, but he didn't really like blow me away with kind of like what does that make sense, Chase? Like when you looked at him, he didn't really blow me away with like he didn't like jump off the tape like oh man, this guy has the nicest arm, this or that. But it was the way he operated and stuff like that. He did. He could throw the ball, obviously, to be a first round quarterback. But similar to that, I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe that it kind of gives me. Anyway, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. We'll definitely dive some more into this Vanderbilt game. Got some stuff I want to listen to and break down. But I'm going to read y'all's comments and responses because I am curious what you guys think. I see there's a lot of activity in the comments. So again, check us out on the live feed at the Miller's Edge. On YouTube, on Facebook at Tide 100.9. If you guys want to watch me do the show, that way when we put stuff on the screen, you guys can see all that and whatnot. But we're going to hit a quick timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling right here. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property? All right, sorry. That threw me off for a second. I was like, wait, why am I getting an echo? But YouTube had pulled up the stream. Hey, so that must means we're getting pushed on the algorithm, man. So I hadn't said this, but if you guys haven't, man, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. That always helps us out. I appreciate that. Let me see what you guys had to say about that, though. Ties hit tight window, second level. Ty shouldn't enter the draft. History isn't on the side of starting in college 1 year. That's an interesting point. While that is true, I think if you look at Ty, I feel like he can be an anomaly, right? And the reason I say that, and I'm gonna bring this back up when we go back from the radio, because that's actually a good point. So I won't dive too deep, but I feel like if you look at Ty and his development, I think that's going to be the difference. Similar to like Mac Jones, waiting their turn, playing behind a bunch of guys, and they get that opportunity, they have a good year. Now, I know, I'm not saying, Mac's actually playing some good ball with Sam Fran filling in for what's his name, but you get what I'm saying. I could see somebody saying, oh, we'll look at him. He had one good year in New England, but he didn't necessarily pan out as a first round. But my argument to that would be, number one, how many first round quarterbacks really pan out exactly what you might envision? And two, he had a bad situation with, coordinators switching. Patricia, guys, coach defense, going to offense coordinator. But I understand your point, though. It definitely is something to consider. But I think Ty has just shown that he's patient, he's receptive, he can pick things up relatively well. And I think that people are going to take note of all that stuff, even if he only has 1 year of playing. To me, that feels a little bit different than like a true junior who has 1 year and he's like lighting it up versus like this guy's. He's been patiently waiting, marinating there, learning, absorbing everything, and now he's really unloading everything. Right now, I'd say late first, early second, but man, his ability to adjust at the line of scrimmage is becoming elite. Yeah, and that's kind of what gives me a lot of pro vibes too, man. Again, in the NFL, teams aren't just lining up and showing. There's going to be a lot you have to cover. Hey, Chase, we can just combine these breaks if that's all right, since I went so long on that one, if you don't mind. Because I'm going to go to the phone lines. Good deal. Let's see. Definitely go ahead of Arch. Yeah, right now, he definitely should. His football IQ is out of this world. Yeah, he's got a really good football IQ. Mimi agrees. Wait, hold on. Where was I at? Seems to get the ball out quickly. Don't know how it compares to NFL quarterbacks.
From Las Vegas, Bruce Marshall.
I have to look that up. But you're right. Now he is getting it out pretty quick, man. And I think, a big reason for that is just his ability just to read things so fast, right? And then he's confident where he's putting it. You know what I mean? Like some quarterbacks, they make their reads right. Then they're a little hesitant on, making that throw. They don't want to turn it over. But that's what's impressive too, if you really think about it. It's not like, I can understand like, okay, he had 0 turnovers, but we haven't thrown the ball a whole bunch. A lot of them were really safe throws. If you look at it really outside of that one from Georgia that should have been picked off, he's he's putting it in these windows. It's not like it's not like he has these big windows all the time. You know what I mean? Like, and things are really like designed a certain way. I mean, he's forcing the ball in there, right? And he still doesn't have any turnovers. So that's very impressive. Very impressive. Yes, now if he finishes the season strong, I want him to come back for another year. But see, guys, that's where it leads into the whole dilemma that I was asking about. If he has a really good year, which he's playing how he's playing now, and say he continues on this consistent basis, and say you look at all those other quarterbacks and his feedback is, man, Ty, we know you had a great year, but we still got you as a second-round grade right now just because of the potential of Lenore Sellers and some of these other guys, Dante Moore. I mean, these guys they have above you right now. If he wanted to come back to school, I hate to bring this conversation back up, but now that we're 4 games in, excuse me, I'm curious. I want to revisit it a little bit because what do you guys think? If Ty Simpson playing the way he's playing right now at the end of the year said, hey, I want to come back to school, how would you guys take that? Because you also know you got Keelan Russell back there and you've been able to see him and his potential. Now you see why I brought this up. I brought this question up like way back when, like in the summer. Because I was like, man, if he ends up having a good year and wants to come out of school, because again, you look at the draft boards, even as good as he's playing right now, they don't really have him in that first round conversation. I think it changes by the end of the year, but still, it might not, right? It might still be around that second round grade. And knowing him, he's proven to be a patient guy. He doesn't have a problem being patient, and he obviously loves being the starting quarterback at the University of Alabama. He's living it up right now. Not like off the field, but I'm saying like you listen to him and his passion. Dude loves it. It wouldn't shock me if he wanted to come back one bit. But if he comes back, though, I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Knowing, Keelan Russell might be there, and he obviously wants to play. But then you got a fifth-year senior Ty who is going to build off what he's doing right now. I mean, that dude, I'm not going to lie to you guys. That's a tough dilemma, but I mean, if Ty wanted to come back and he finishes the year the way he's playing right now, shoot. You might have to just take him back in with open arms, man. I would probably feel better about a returning starter, a fifth-year guy, leading my team on a run than a first year. I know Keelan's got all the talent in the world, but that's just me. And I just know if you look at it statistically, most of the time, these veteran quarterbacks end up, making a little bit deeper run.
First time in my.
At least that's what they say. At least, let's see. Get some more y'all's comments in because we've got a few more seconds before we come back. Where are we at? Sorry, I keep losing where we were at. I'm trying to read them all through, like in order. Ty shouldn't enter the draft. Oh yeah, we hit that one right now. Yep, we hit that one. Hit that one. Oh, here we go. Ty's most definitely showing some good, playing some good ball. He's playing with confidence and swag with some great weapons around him. It will 10 times if we ever start running the ball well. Facts. Superfly said his IQ's out of this world. Yeah, we hit that one. I agree. Really good football IQ. You think he'll stay another year with Russell sitting on the bench? That's what we kind of were just discussing, but I don't know, man. I think that's going to be an end of year. I genuinely think that decision is going to be literally like at the end of the year, assessing how this season goes, draft grades, all that stuff. I mean, because again, it means it's all the signs are there. I mean, Ty would have no problem coming back to school another year.
I thought I just wasn't.
I guess I shouldn't speak for him, but I just think it's pretty obvious. I mean, the dude waited all this time anyway, and as much as he's enjoying being the starting quarterback at the University of Alabama, talking about how he's always dreamed of it, I don't see why he would not want to come back. I believe Dante Moore, who is one that I would consider taking before Ty based on measure, is only a sophomore. I think he might be a redshirt sophomore. He should be draft eligible. But he's been playing some good football too. Let me see. Is he a true sophomore or a redshirt sophomore? Maybe you're right. Maybe he's a true sophomore. I thought he was a redshirt sophomore. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, so we've been talking about this whole Ty Simpson first round conversation. Really good conversation, by the way. And I promise we'll keep talking about Vanderbilt, but we got plenty of time to do that. And this has been a really good little, I guess, sidetrack here. But Dante Moore's name has come up because he's been playing some really good football this season. A lot of people have been really high on him. He's 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, only one interception, and doing a nice job leading that Oregon team, again, to a big victory in overtime over Penn State. In that game, he was 29 of 39, had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So obviously that's a really strong performance for him as well. But that being said, he's a sophomore, but technically a redshirt sophomore because he played in 2023, 2024. I think that's when I guess he might have redshirted that year, and then now he's obviously back active because he was only 7 of 8 in 2024. So he is draft eligible, but he's definitely going to be on a lot of teams' radars for sure. Then obviously Lenora Sellers just off of potential, and I mean even what he's doing, he's a really good player too. But people have been talking about Lenora Sellers just because you're talking about a big, massive guy, got that stature. Got a big arm, can run the football as well. He's going to definitely be in that conversation. And Nussmeier, right, a guy who gets a lot of attention as well. But that being said, I hate to circle back to this, but I talked about it with our chat here on YouTube. But it goes back to the whole conversation that we had like during the summer. And I know people were wondering why I was jumping the gun, but this is exactly why. Ty is a guy that does have an extra year of eligibility. Right? He's proven that he enjoys playing at the University of Alabama, being the quarterback. It's evident that he wouldn't mind coming back, but how do you handle that, right? I mean, obviously, I think everybody here could agree. I mean, nobody would be mad if he wanted to come back, say he finishes this year the way he's playing right now, right? Why would you not want a fifth-year guy, returning starter, come back? But you do have a really, really talented true freshman right now, and Keelan Russell, who obviously is going to be sitting there. So, going to be interesting. Now, I know somebody just asked what happened with Mac. Well, I mean, he's still there too, and he looks really good as well. But if I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up transferring just because of the situation, right? Now, I will say this. If Ty leaves, if Ty does go to the draft, I think he's definitely going to battle for that quarterback spot, 100%. But I could end up seeing him end up going elsewhere, but only because he's running out of time, right? Because this is already his 3rd year. And I don't know if he's listed as wait, let me think. Well, technically he redshirted last year, I believe, or it could count as that. So he should have 2 more years after this year. But I wouldn't be mad at him if he just said, obviously he probably wants to play here, but if it looks better at another place, I wouldn't be shocked. So I could see if Ty comes back, I wouldn't be shocked if Matt hits the portal. And I wouldn't blame him at all. I mean, dude, he wants to play. And he's got a lot of potential. If Ty doesn't come back, I think he stays to compete. And then, I don't know, depending on how the portal window, because I know there's been changes with the window, right? Or they're going to be. They're talking about doing only one window. If there's still a window after spring, I say he stays and competes through spring. And then if it doesn't look great, he leaves. And I know we're all just talking hypotheticals. I know we're jumping way ahead. But, hey, man, it's a Thursday. We've talked a lot about Vanderbilt. We've got a whole nother hour that we're going to talk about it. So I just wanted to kind of segue a little bit, but a lot of you guys had some interesting thoughts on that whole situation in terms of Ty. If he does come back, Judy says if Ty comes back, we'll lose 2 quarterback commits, which I forgot even about the recruiting part of things. You do have 2 quarterback commits right now. I don't think you lose both. I honestly probably might not even lose either, honestly. And the reason I say that is I think if they're coming here and they see Keelan Russell here already, I don't think they necessarily expect to start right away by any means. So I don't think Ty coming back would necessarily affect the recruiting or the commits, I should say, personally. But that's just my opinion. I mean, what do I know? LK says, is Ty's NIL enough to keep him here next year? Would Russell be patient waiting or watching Ty? See, those are really good questions. The first answer, I would say, I'll be honest, I don't think Ty NIL is not probably the factor with Ty that I would be worried about. The reason I say that is he could have left and gotten paid a good bit more money if he really wanted. So I mean, look at the money that Jackson Arnold went and got paid, right, to go to Auburn. I mean, you're talking about several $1 million. And if you had to ask me if I was a coach and I'm picking between Jackson Arnold, I know he played, but a Ty Simpson who has potential, he just hadn't necessarily played the snaps. I probably would personally lean a little more in Ty Simpson's direction, just seeing what I've seen from Jackson Arnold, right, and how I feel he's limited compared to Ty. And two, even if you paid Ty a little bit less than what you might have initially paid Arnold because of his experience, still would be way more than Ty really is making just by staying here. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys, man. Like, portal money is different money. If you go in the portal, it's going to be way more than what you're making, like regardless of any other factor, just because they're getting you to leave, right? Let's see. And Smitty, we're going to come to you. I just want to close off this top hour break. That way, when we come back, we let you get plenty of time to talk. Let's see. We got any more things? Ryan says, I don't think Russell would stay, unfortunately. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if Ty does come back, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if Russell necessarily would ideally stay, but who knows? Who knows? But at the end of the day, the good news is if you're Alabama or a fan or even on the staff, I think the good news is you look at this situation like if Ty comes back, you've got a returning guy who obviously is a really good quarterback, and you feel very confident about that position in terms of, what he can do next season. And then say he goes on to the draft and, you guys have seen a small sample size from Keelan Russell now, and I've been able to see him behind the scenes and also in, those game reps. Hell, I would feel great about him leading us. So, I mean, regardless, I think if you're a Bama fan, you kind of can sit back and relax a little bit when it comes to quarterback position, which is a pretty nice feeling because obviously they play a big role in your team. Somebody said, what a waste for Auburn. Man, hey, man, you got to take risks. You got to pay up. And unfortunately, I mean, they probably would have been better off trying to get somebody like Carson Beck. But I think his girlfriend at the time had a little bit to do with where he ended up at. Superfly says, I think if Bama wins the national championship, he goes to the draft. If not, he might come back because that's what he really wants, of course. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, knowing him, I just listen to how he talks about. I prayed to be the quarterback here at Alabama. Like, the dude loves every bit of it, man. He's passionate about it. And say they don't win one this year, I definitely could see him wanting to chase another one. Like, he was patient enough to wait at this point. Why not wait one more year before going to the NFL? Especially with NIL. Like, think about this, guys. Like, if you had a chance to make, if you're a first round draft pick, I mean, signing bonus, let's just say he's like a mid round pick in the first round. His signing bonus would be about 8 to 10, maybe. Could be a little bit more depending on, if it's 12 through 20, right? We'll just say 8 to 10. And while that sounds great, that's if you're picked that high. Say he falls on like the back half of the first round, could be a second round pick. Or you could come back to school and say you make, I don't know, almost $2 million and you get to chase another national championship, and you still could end up getting drafted that same spot, if not higher. Now, obviously, there's a risk for injury, which nowadays you've got player insurance. To me, I think it's personally, I would definitely consider coming back to school if I could raise my draft stock, still get paid 7 figures, and get a chance at another national championship, especially when I only had 1 year to play as a full-time starter at quarterback. It'd be different if it was another position he had been working in and playing some, kind of like me, right? Like I played since, I guess, a redshirt sophomore to redshirt senior. Like, I was playing, but I obviously played more and more and more. Then my final year, which, I was a starter my junior year, I just got hurt. But you get what I'm saying? That was like a full year of starting and playing versus a quarterback. This is like his only year he's really had as the full-time guy and actually playing. So if I was in that spot, I wouldn't mind coming back, but that's just me. That being said, we got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll go to the phone lines, and we're going to dive into this Alabama Vanderbilt, talk a little bit more. I'll pull up some more clips like we did yesterday to break down some of the things that they'll do in this matchup and what we need to do to stop it. Plus, we'll hear from former Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy. He did his weekly breakdown on this game, and he always does a good job throwing out stats and facts. So I definitely want to let that play. That way we can listen to it, respond to it as well. Right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Top of the hour break. We come right back. We keep on rolling.
The Tide Tailgate Show is presented by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. Online at pearlriverresort.com and by.
Are you active duty? I always notice the military photo. Just curious. I mean, if you don't want to share that on here, you don't have to. Just curious. Reason I asked, I got a bunch of like family and friends that are military or that were served. Because where I'm from Columbia, which is where Fort Jackson is. So I mean, I feel like everybody either you go to school, college, you go to college, workforce, or you join the military, which a lot of my friends join the military. I always said, I'm like, man, if I didn't play football, I probably would have considered joining the military. I think Chase should be guest picker on Saturday. Did they ever announce that? Did they announce that? You know who it wouldn't shock me? If it was like AJ McCarron. He's been really active in the media space recently. I would not be shocked if AJ McCarron was the guest picker. Because I know he does other stuff, but it seems like he's really kind of leaning. Because, I mean, obviously he's doing the podcast with Chris. It was really good, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it. But I know I've seen him on like CBS now and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I could see him being guest picker. But I feel like sometimes I choose somebody that doesn't even have any relation to the school. Pavia might have given Alabama some bulletin board material. He's been doing that since the summer, but what else has he added? I think Chase mentioned to me before we started the show. I know he said some other stuff. I heard he said something about like he said something about we can dominate if we do this or something like that, or maybe it was just a headline. I think it'd be Julio. Oh, dang, that'd be dope. The good news is, a lot of the time we couldn't really have a lot of former guys do it because everybody was playing. But now, we're kind of getting to that point. This, I know we're getting old. A lot of guys are starting to retire.
Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, first hour, we didn't really get to Vanderbilt talk too much because we were talking about some hypotheticals, right? But we're talking about Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson, his very impressive play through 4 games. And do we feel like he's working himself into that first round conversation again? Going into the year, that wasn't really a thing. Not even really had not many people even had him as a top 5 quarterback in the conference, but through 4 games, man, I would argue that he's arguably the most impressive quarterback in the conference and definitely one of the top guys in the country. So that's why we definitely wanted to hit that a little bit. Plus, switch it up a little bit. We got plenty of time to talk about Vanderbilt. So now we will move to that. But first, we are going to go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We've got Smitty up first. Smitty, welcome in. Did we lose him, Chase?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
There he goes. What's up, Smitty?
Yeah, you just hit the button. Yeah. A couple of things, though, about Ty, right? I'll say this. If he gets a second-round grade, you take your butt to the league. God, that next year, you will be picked apart. You could get injured. Any of that sort, right? So I cause second round pick still make more than you do your NIL, and you may actually land in a better situation than if you go number one, you end up on the Carolina Panthers. I'll pray for Bryce Young, but
hey, that's my team. But trust me, I did it, especially the quarterback spot, man. Good luck, brother. Ooh, you don't want to go there.
Yeah, you throw it to a guy who's more known for roadkill than catching the ball. But anyway, eating roadkill. But but a lot of times it's about where you go. And Jalen Hurts, right? He got his money sooner because the second round pick doesn't have a fifth round option. You land in the right situation without those expectations of a high first rounder, it may work out. And I think because NIL still can't trump second round money for a QB. And so that's just my opinion there. But I think what happens is people are these quarterbacks they expect the stuff from. A lot of these analysts are lazy. All they do is go by who's coming back to school. Drew Aller has stunk for 3 years against good teams. And everybody's like, oh, this is the year. No, it isn't. Because if you're 6'5", 240 with a rocket arm, you're not a fifth-year senior. You're gone. Garrett Nussmeier, production traits-wise, great. Production-wise, average. And LSU has some receivers.
Wait, you saying this year? I was about to say, I think he's like damn near, he's nearing like a record at LSU for a lot of their stuff in terms of, I think it was passing yards or passing touchdowns. I was about to say production. He's had production now. Maybe, I don't know. This year might be a little bit less right now, but last year he was 4,000-yard guy.
Hey, have you seen their quarterbacks over the years? You played against some of them, man. Let's be real. They got regular jobs. That's all I got to say.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that the NFL don't look at production. They look at trait. Yep. That's why Anthony Richardson went number 4 despite not completing half his pass. Lenore Sellers is not a polished passer.
Correct.
So they're going to pick him that high, and that kid will have to sit for a year or two, but they're going to throw him out there day one. And remember, you know this, the NFL don't teach. They just throw you out there. They don't teach you how to play. They teach you how to be in a system. I remember Cam Newton said that, and it made so much sense. Right. They're going to throw him out there day one and wonder why he's failing. And so, but Ty, his processing, his knowing all the checks, running the offense, making every throw, that is in his leadership. He's seeing that after the game, how the team responds to him. That stuff will make you draftable in the interview process. So I think if he gets a second round grade, Christian, he's out. He should be out of there.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, he kind of reminds me of like JJ McCarthy on that. You know what I mean, like that Michigan team. Like, again, I know he's definitely very, but like you talk about like the traits and stuff. He didn't have any like crazy traits, but if you just watch how he operated and played the quarterback position, a lot of people were really impressed. That's where I'm kind of getting at. I know they're totally different players and whatnot. But anyway, yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. Other than, I would say this, there's a big difference where second round money and first round money, depending on where you're taking now, that can be a big jump. So, I mean, it depends your philosophy, right? If you look at but you are right. If you are drafting second round, you don't have to worry about that fifth-year option and wait longer to get that second contract. But, I mean, if you're like a top 10 pick, you're talking about, I mean, a difference of, I mean, obviously first round picks are like, you're talking about a guaranteed of like $20-something million. 10 is probably, pick 10 is, I'd have to pull it up, I don't know, maybe 15, 16. But then even by the end of the first round, you're talking about 7 or 8. Could be a little bit more than that, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, that's a big drastic gap in terms of millions of dollars. Once you get to the second round, even going to the third round, the difference is a lot smaller. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. But you also do risk you come back to school and you don't have as good of a year, or things go south for whatever reason. You risk that too. But I was just saying, knowing him and his character, right? It would not shock me if it's like, oh, it's not like a top 10 pick. I'm going back to school because I want to, compete for another, championship or something like that. But who knows? So I guess, like I said, it's way too early to tell, but we'll know more down the road. But he's playing some really good football right now.
I'll say this before I talk about Vanderbilt. If Keelan Russell can't wait till red shirt sophomore year, guys, all you need is 1 year film to be drafted highly. That's all you need. Mac Jones only had
when
1
you have
year
the trait,
especially
when you have the traits like you said, or like people are going to look at Keelan Russell and they're immediately going to say like, "Oh, he's got those traits." You know what I mean? Like I know he doesn't have necessarily that crazy stature like a lot of people still obsess over, but you just the way he throws the ball, you know what I mean? Like people are they're going to say that about him. I agree with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, and I was like, because I do think Mac going to transfer because he's a redshirt sophomore, and it's just time. And he at least now he put some stuff on tape, so he may have some options there. But about the game, right? I actually rewatched the game. You know, I had to crack open a bourbon for it, but I rewatched it. And here's the they didn't run on Alabama last year. They threw on them. And I just noticed that. And I think because the secondary was young, and because they had a lot of problems early on, had so many young guys at the same time. And the thing was that Alabama kind of helped them out with the two guys with the same number, pick six, fumble, throw over a lot of scrimmage, not sustaining drives. Because Vanderbilt, they have to hurry. And like, because you got to get ahead of a team like that so that they can make those speed things up. And I think that's where Ty in this system fits now, is that they actually do ball control also. Right. And I think that will help as well. And it will help protect that defense where you got some guys missing the first half and you have some injuries. But I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Do you think we may see some more more Dijon Lee instead of Damani Jackson? It's because of being heavy rub because Dijon Lee more physical. And I think Georgia realized, Damani Jackson didn't want these problems in the run game, so we run at him. So I wonder if we may see more of him in non-run situations.
So I'll say this: I think you honestly are probably right. Now I don't have any intel saying that. I agree with what you're saying that in a game like this where they're going to want to hit you with their running game, they're going to test you, and you got to have guys in run support, right? It's not always. I know everybody just looks at the front seven, but run support also includes those secondary guys. It includes the cornerbacks attacking receivers and really helping, not setting the initial edge, but you get what I'm saying, taking on those blocks and providing some support on the perimeter. It includes those safeties that are coming down that might have specific run fits or just hitting the alley. That is going to be important, especially when you're talking about a team that's running an option type attack. I mean, things happen quick. You know, they might pitch the ball. I mean, they're going to hit the perimeter. Those DBs have to provide run support. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, DJ Lee is much better in that type of situation than Damani. And they've already been working him in there. I mean, even going back to training camp, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. I mean, they have been working DJ Lee with the ones rotating him with Damani back in fall camp. I don't know. I mean, it probably wouldn't really report it because the scrimmages aren't public, but like scrimmage 2, he got a whole hell of a lot of snaps with the one. So, I mean, they're really high on him and they trust him. So I think you might be onto something. I would not be shocked if you see more of DJ Lee in these games. I'm not saying you don't see Damani at all. I think obviously he's going to play, but you get what I'm saying. I wouldn't be shocked if we see them rotating them because we might. Vanderbilt, they will spread things out, so we will be in nickel looks for sure. But I would expect us to be in some more 3-4 type looks, which aren't going to have as many DBs. I was going to say, if it was a game where you need more DBs on the field, I mean, they're going to try to get DJ Lee out there as much as possible because they trust him, right? They view him as a starting caliber guy. With this game being something where it's a little bit more likely you might have less DBs out there, you might have no other option than to rotate him in with Damani just to get him out there, and I think that is a possibility.
Yeah, and I'll say this before I run. The other thing with Vanderbilt last year, they had so many short fields. And see, people don't realize short fields, it's hard to hold them to like not getting a field goal. All you need is the first down until you're in field goal range. And I think you have to make these guys march the length of the field and get off to a good start. Because it's kind of like, you watch basketball, they have some of those slow-paced teams and stuff. The best thing you do is make those speed things up by getting to a lead and stuff. And I think if you get up early and don't commit penalties that keep the offense on the field, I think that is a huge key right there. And plus, Elijah Pritchard not at right tackle this year, so I think that would help as well. Ask the Nebraska fans how he doing right now.
Oh God, yeah. Listen, I'll say this. So about last year's game, it really was a number of things in that ball game. I mean, we got off to a bad start, right? I mean, they jumped us quick because that first they scored, right? They ran down the field, they scored, and they had the pick, right? That they put us behind pretty quickly. But like you said, the penalty with the punt or whatever it was, that's an issue. But really, you look at it, man, the time of possession killed us. I mean, even with the pick six, offense wasn't that bad. Honestly, offense was pretty solid, man, outside of the turnover to start the game. I know there's that fumble later in the game, but still, if you look at everything else, man, offense really was doing their job. It was two major things. They dominated the time of possession, like 70% of the game they had the football, and two, we could not get off the field. And so
bingo.
Yeah, and so we've been doing better at getting off the field. Promise we're not stopping the run right now, which is an issue. But the biggest thing for me is I think you hit it. Our offense last year was a little bit more home run or 3 and out, right? And now we're having sustainable drives, which that literally helps us out tremendously with the whole time of possession thing. I think that alone will be helpful. But if our defense can find a way to stop the run, and then we can eventually continue to work on our running game, man, I feel like honestly this team is built to contend, in those big time games down the road. We have to figure out those pieces, because everything else, man, we're doing really, really well.
Yeah, and you're right though, and I know you got other people to get to. Thanks for taking my call as always.
Of course, man. I appreciate you, Smitty. Take care, brother. Good deal, man. Now he's spot on though, but this game I think might look a little bit different, but we'll see. Hopefully, it definitely looks different. But I will say I think the way our offense is playing right now, it definitely helps us out in terms of the time of possession piece. We just got to carry over the third down efficiency, and you should see a better result. But it's going to be a challenge. Definitely going to be that, and we'll keep talking about why that is. When we come back after this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. 205-342-9904 is the number if you guys want to jump on the phone lines, talk a little bit with me, and we'll keep on rolling right here. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
At Tusk.
All right, let me hit some of these comments real quick. Cutie, what's up? Had a chance to win the Vandy game. Wait, what part are you talking about, Jeff? You said we had a chance. You talking about the strip sack? If you're talking about the strip sack, man, please don't be one of those people that are trying to put everything on 4, man. Because I remember that play vividly, bro. That play is on the tackle. I hate when people do that. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I hate when people do that. Now, if it's a quarterback just holding it and he's got bad ball security and the line did their job, but it's like nobody's open and he's just not getting rid of it or doing something, that's one thing. But you can't blame the quarterback for getting strip sacked if it's clear as day the offensive lineman just got his ass whooped in a one-on-one. I mean, that's on the offensive lineman. I mean, I just imagine you just tasked to hold something and there's supposed to be somebody that protects you. They don't do their job. Everybody's blaming you because you dropped it. But the guy that's supposed to protect you just let the guy right by. But you might be talking about something totally different, though. But and it definitely wasn't just that. I mean, there's a number of things that gave what I mentioned earlier was the biggest reasons we lost. I mean, they literally held the ball like 70% of the time. I mean, offense kept responding. Defense, we just kept giving up play after play. I mean, they just kept staying on the field. I mean, that was really the biggest thing. I'm trying to get to that play real quick. Oh, there it is. Are you talking about this? Hold on. You're saying there's a chance to win it. It went down to the wire. I was trying to think of what other point. I thought you were referring to this because I know last year this was a whole big deal. This play right here, because I remember people were calling us And everybody was like, "Oh, just Jalen Milroe terrible. He threw a pick six or whatever, and then the strip sack, and we had a chance." I'm like, bro, like, how do we both watch this and we both come away with like, I know you can't have a fumble here, but guys, I'm just telling you, as a former edge rusher, I mean that's about as clean as a win as I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be different if he's just holding the ball, whatever. Like, yeah, I guess you could say, oh, he should feel that and step up a little bit. But I'm telling you, it's much easier said than done. Just watching. I mean, bro, the right tackle just got his ass whooped is what that is. Please don't say defense gives me heartburn thinking about our DC. I mean, that was honestly just defensively, it was just bad all the way around, man. I mean, they just, we had no answer. I mean, the whole game, we literally had no answer. Whether it was a shovel pass or, and then they set everything else up off of it, man. Let's see. Oh, we're coming back. Here we go. And welcome back into Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right. So I want to take a quick segue real quick. So I know Clark Lee had joined CBS, and he ended up breaking down. I'm going to skip ahead. He was talking about his Vanderbilt team in general, talking about Pavia and their success. Again, they are 5-0 right now, undefeated. They're currently ranked and coming in at number 16 into this game. But I'm going to skip ahead. And this was head coach Clark Lee of Vanderbilt discussing the matchup and what they need to do in terms of getting the victory here this Saturday when they travel to Tuscaloosa.
Team, that was a good team we played a year ago. And by the way, we haven't talked at all about that last year's result. Like you said, it's a totally different matchup, two totally different teams in my estimation. And that Alabama team's talented, they're well coached. I think they challenge you again in all three phases, not only with their skill but with their tactics too. So we got our work cut out for us. Both offenses operate pretty methodically. So as you look to defend them, obviously they can get in the end zone in one snap, and if you don't tackle well, if you don't suffocate space around the ball, they'll do that. But what they've shown to this point this season is they're patient and they're gonna control the game through trying to control the clock. Well, we have a very similar approach, and so I believe that you're going to start to look at the margins for the game being in third down performance and red zone performance. Which team does a better job getting off the field, which team does a better job sustaining drives. And how do we play at the ends of the field in the red zone where we finish drives out on both sides of the ball? I think that becomes a big part of the outcome of the game. And they have not turned the ball over this season. So, we have to look for ways to create extra possessions. Obviously, in a game that has the potential to come down to the tight margins, protecting the ball will be of the utmost importance on our side. But it's a great matchup. We're excited for the game. We believe in our team. This is about Vanderbilt football for us, how we play, the attitude we bring, the energy we bring. Obviously, we need to operate well to eliminate the crowd being a part of the game. But we played in tough environments and we positioned ourselves for the stage. And so we're going to go enjoy it.
You mentioned there the belief that you have in your group, and you know them better than us. So obviously, and based on how this team is built and how they're able to compete every Saturday up to this point, and when you look at that schedule, what are your expectations of this group this year?
Well, we talk early, in January, and we talked about, setting a course to play through January. I mean, that's how we talk, and it's not always understood externally, with respect to the goals we have, the goals we carry with us. But I don't want to be a part of anything that doesn't aim at performance at the highest level. And What it allows us to do when you set your goals really high, it allows you to then shift your focus really day in, day out, week in, week out. So the expectation is that we go and play our best game on Saturday. We're going to have a bye week coming up after this, which we'll need. This will be our 6th consecutive week to start the season, which is a tough opening stretch. And to finish that 6th game in Tuscaloosa is especially challenging. But we're going to do our best this Saturday to play at our highest level. If we do that, we feel like we can keep the result within our reach. From there, we're going to get rested up on a bye week and take aim at what's next.
Of course, that starts Saturday with Bama at 3:30 Eastern. Coach, before I let you go, you got to give me one Barton Simmons story, one of our old pals.
All right, so we'll stop it there. We don't need to hear the Bart story, but look, I'll just say this, man. Clark Lee has been phenomenal for Vanderbilt, and just hearing him speak, I think he's a great football coach. But I agree with everything he was saying in terms of similarly how these teams like to play, at least offensively. Controlling the clock, controlling that tempo, and being able to make plays. And obviously they have a lot of respect for Alabama, but you can hear it in his voice, Chase. I mean, this guy is very confident. And look, they're not coming here just to travel to Tuscaloosa and take pictures on the logo. I mean, they really feel like they have a chance to win this football game. And I think he's right when it comes down to third down efficiency, in the red zone. Those things will be important. But like you mentioned, I mean, turnover battle, we always talk about how important that is. Well, we're doing such a great job at protecting the football. I think that could be huge. The fact that we can, feel better about that going into this game, that we're not going to give them points. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, they're excited, they're confident, but we'll kind of see a little bit more when Saturday gets here. In terms of looking at them defensively, I will say this: going back and watching them in their unit, they work well together, man. I think they got a couple guys via the transfer portal, and I know somebody asked that question about Vanderbilt and kind of how they've been able to get to this point where they're at now. Was it all portal? And I definitely do feel like a large piece of it is part of that, but also just the new leadership under Clark Lee. But I will say is they get after it. They're disruptive up front. And just to recap, the biggest, I guess, flaw or weakness is, them defending the pass, which we actually are, very explosive there. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. But my biggest thing, Chase, that I'll be looking forward to, again, they do a nice job stopping the run. We know we haven't really been that effective doing that anyway. So when we are throwing the football, though, I'll be honest, I think even though Georgia was throwing all those pressures and stuff at us, I would argue that Vanderbilt's front does a better job of being disruptive. And I'm curious to see how our offensive line play carries over into this football game. We know, at least in my opinion, that's been probably the biggest key, right, this whole year and continues to be, right? How we're going to go as far as our offensive line and guys in protection carry us. And I'll be honest, even going back to last week's game, I feel like Jam Miller coming back, just his presence out there, even in pass pro, was just huge. Guys like Danny Lewis being back out there, a physical guy that can play in the core. I thought that was big. He had a big block on the perimeter one play, but can we continue that? I think that'll be big, giving Ty that time to work. I think it'll be big in this game. Still want to see us try to establish a run game. Don't get away from it, but I will say their front is probably the better part of that defense, and they're doing a nice job. Again, they had 3 sacks last week and a number of tackles for loss in that game with Utah State. So it's going to be interesting. Now they do throw stuff at you too. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know I'm not talking about it as much. They will pressure you. They will throw blitzes at you. So we'll see how we pick that up. But the fact that we handled it so well last week against Georgia, I think, I feel confident about picking it up this week. So I know somebody asked about Vanderbilt's pass rush. It's pretty solid. I mean, I want to say, let me see if I have their stats. Let's see. I want to say, I think they might have 14 sacks on the season. I might need to double check that, but I think they have 14 sacks maybe. I'll double check that. Matter of fact, because we're due for a break. Let's hit this break. I'll double check that. Then I'll also pull up some tape, get to a couple plays. And we also need to listen to that breakdown from Greg. But I want to say they actually are doing pretty good at getting after the quarterback and forcing negative plays up front. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say they are in double-digit sacks, and I think they've done a really nice job getting tackles for losses too. But I'll double-check all those numbers just to be sure on that, and talk about it more when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Your flagship home of Alabama sports. We are a championship school, and school is in session.
Into each other, stays on his feet, breaks a tackle, scores.
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide take on Vanderbilt at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Our coverage begins at 11:30 on your home for Alabama football. Presented by Pearl River Resort, DCH Regional Medical Center, 2 Dimes Tuscaloosa, and Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at
We'd
Asphalt
say
Restoration,
relatedness is our
we
edge in our
transform
program,
driveways
but,
and parking lots with expert
that
repairs, new
foundation
paving,
has,
or
has-
resurfacing.
and then
Fast,
our course
durable,
correction
family-owned
through the
quality that
transfer
you can
portal and
trust.
NIL has
Don't let
positioned
small
us to have a team right now that isn't just it's not just about being competitive. You know, a year ago it was about winning games at close margins and trying to get into a competitive fourth quarter. You know, we've built upon that and now have a team that I think is pretty tough for all 4 quarters. And we've had a chance here early on to separate from our competition in the game. So we have a different competitive mindset. I can draw that string all the way back to team 1 and just, again, those years of methodically building. You know, this group benefits from that, and we're trying to take it to another level.
But for me, I'm just curious, just to be competitive in the SEC, and I want to, douse that as much as we can, because that is a tough thing to do. We see other schools as well within the conference. For you, what are maybe 2 or 3 key things that have worked so well for you guys this year?
Well, we're playing really well at the quarterback position, and Diego Pavia deserves all the attention and credit that he gets. I mean, he is a difference maker. There's only a handful of guys that can take a game over, and we're fortunate to have one of those taking the snaps for us. He also is a chip on the shoulder guy. He's a guy that's had to prove it his entire life, and that's the kind of program we are. We say we're a team of misfits here, and so he fits in perfectly to that. And it starts with them. I think we played better in our offensive line this season, giving them time and space. We've surrounded him through development and through the transfer portal with weapons that, when he gets the ball out in space, we have guys that know what to do with it. And so we're clicking on all cylinders offensively. Defensively, we've been among the nation's best in our havoc rate. And, we played really well on that side of the ball too. Same kind of thing. We have identity. It's 11 guys on the same page, guys like Randon Fontenette and Corday Sidnor and Langston Patterson leading the way for us. Colby Taylor at corner and Marlon Sewell at safety. And we have a group of guys, and it's a blend between guys that have been retained over 4 and 5 years. And again, guys that have come in the last 2 years that give us the balance to both have that nucleus of foundation and of character, and the guys that come in get aligned with who we are and what we do. And we're having success. And you can't tie it all together without talking about special teams. This has got to be a 3-phase operation for us. And so right now, we've kind of hit our marks in all 3 phases. Obviously, as we get into the SEC schedule, it only gets harder, but I'm proud of the way we played, and we've made the focus about us. This is about what Vanderbilt football can do, what we bring to the table, a focus on our execution, our tactics, our systems. That's what's been able to deliver us to this point. That's what will be our internal conversation moving forward.
You shared there about going into the portal a couple of years ago. You go get a guy from New Mexico State, and Diego, as you mentioned, your star quarterback. We see him on the field. He has the passion, competition there. He loves it. Family guy. Just give us some ins and out about your QB1. What makes him so special?
Well, he's probably the most connected person in our building. So he builds relationships in the quiet corners of the buildings. He cares about his teammates. I mean, he takes time with each and every one of them. I just was with him this morning, or passed him in the hallway this morning, and he's talking to one of our reserve tight ends while a reserve offensive tackle is coming out of the training room and he's giving him 5 and saying what's up to him. And then he and I are hanging out and talking. It's just, that's who he is. It's very natural. It's very authentic. Beyond that, he's maniacally competitive. And so he expects and demands an attitude from his teammates that it comes very natural to some of them. And for others, it's kind of elevated the way they perform day in, day out. And we focus on these 12 opportunities in the fall, but your team's really built over the, literally the 365 days of the year. So when you have this kind of attitude and this kind of approach day in, day out, starting in January, over time, you amplify or you aggregate into a team that, again, is competitive, is tough, and follows the lead of the guy taking the snaps. So a lot to be said about him, who he is as a person. But the biggest compliment I can pay Diego is he backs everything up with his process. He is.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. I was pulling up some numbers on their defense for you guys. Over that timeout, obviously, we were still playing Clark Lee's interview with CBS during the break on our stream. But in terms of where they rank statistically with the rest of the group in the SEC, they do come in pretty high in a number of categories. Third best run defense, could be the best running defense that Alabama will have seen this season, because that also ranks 12th best nationally, only allowing just shy of 80 rushing yards per game with 3 a carry. That being said, that really hadn't been our thing. You know what I mean? We definitely leaned into our passing game. So I guess the only note I have off of that, Chase, would be that, well, if this was going to be the game we really wanted to establish that and see a breakout with the running game, definitely going to be a challenge in doing so. Now, that doesn't mean you can't, right? I mean, hell, they could come in with all these stats and we still could end up running all over the yard, and maybe we find that secret sauce, but it obviously is going to come with the challenge, because no back has had over 74 rushing yards against this Vanderbilt defense yet this season, which I don't even think we've had a back maybe hit that at all anyway. But to be fair, I expect our passing game to be probably the recipe in this game anyway, kind of similar to what you saw out of the Georgia game. We tried to run the ball. We did so just enough to keep them true and honest, but then we kept obviously using those extensions and making plays down the football field. However, it is interesting from the perspective that you also wonder at some point when teams realize how pass heavy we are and how much that, provides success to us, they start trying to sell out there. I mean, will we be able to compensate with our running game, right? If things do open up that way, if they start selling out against the pass. So that will be something to look out for. Some other stats. So I was right. They do have 14 sacks on the season. That is through 5 games, right? They haven't had a bye week yet, but they've got 14 sacks. That's tied for 4th most in the conference, and they are led by their defensive end, Miles Capers, who is one of the top guys in the SEC. He also has 8 tackles for loss. So obviously 3.5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, forced fumble recovery. I mean, this guy is very disruptive. So our ability to keep him at bay will be interesting. Obviously, Will Conformity stepped up big in that Georgia game, and I think it was like the highest graded offensive lineman in pass pro in college football. So we'll see if we can carry that over, or Michael Carroll, whoever's out there and responsible for covering him or blocking him, I should say. Sorry, it's been one of those days, man. Long day. That being said, they've got a good unit. I still feel like the passing game is definitely going to probably be where we look to take advantage of this unit. Again, a unit who has performed well up front. So secondary-wise, they're not bad. They come in 55th nationally, and I think they're averaging just under – I think, is it 200 yards a game? Less than 200. Yeah, just a little bit less than 200 passing yards a game, right, through 5 games. So they do a good job defensively. So I know a lot of the attention is on Diego Pavia and what he's able to do, right? Making all those plays, and they put up points. They're very efficient on offense. But defensively, they've been doing a really nice job as well. So this is definitely a very solid team, and that's why I said, man, don't let the logo or how some other people talk about them fool you. I mean, they're a very good group. I mean, not just by the numbers, but even just watching them, they do some good stuff. But it's not the same Vanderbilt we've seen in the years past. I mean, Clark Lee has really transformed this school. So I want to get caught back up on the phone line. So we'll do that real quick, and then I'll pull up a couple of things once we finish up with that. But 205-342-9904 is the number. We got Ram up next. Ram, welcome in.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, what's up, Ram?
I heard your dog bark. I feel I'm out in the woods.
Oh, man.
Christian.
Yes, sir.
I know you assess their edge rushers. How would you categorize them?
How would I what? I'm sorry. I missed that last part.
How would you categorize their edge rushers?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think they're very active. I mean, led by is it Capers is his name? I mean, they're good players, man. They're disruptive. I mean, I know he's a redshirt senior. The other guy I'm not too sure about, but I think they do a nice job, man. I mean, 4 sacks or 3.5 sacks in 5 games, man, that's very productive. So they do a nice job. They get after the quarterback. They're responsible for 14 sacks, 4th in the conference. And I think Tennessee was number 1 with like 20. Then I think it was like 16, 16, 14, 14. So I mean, they're doing a nice job getting after the quarterback. So I would say, I mean, it's definitely going to be a challenge for us. But the good news is, I mean, we've been getting much better. At least last week, we proved that we could protect in some key moments and do a nice job of that. So I think it'll be more of a challenge than what we saw out of Georgia. I think their guys are better than what Georgia has for sure. So that will be interesting. But yeah, they're good players. Yeah.
You think they got as good a juice as we do on team speed?
In terms of is it team speed? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's just I can't really understand some of the things you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think
their juice level.
Their juice level.
Or
yeah.
Fast. Team overall.
Yeah, I mean,
overall.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to have decent speed on tape. I mean, it's nothing like that I think you should be worried about, but it's not like they're behind in any category, I would say. I mean, if anything, I look at Pavia and the way he plays. I mean, that tells you obviously what they like to do on offense. I mean, they've got some juice there, especially led by him and the way that he plays the position. But it's not like, I mean, I guess I'm caught off guard because I'll be honest with you, when I hear that, I'm thinking of like Florida back in the day, like dudes like real burners and stuff. Like I don't really see anything like that, but they do have good team speed from what I've seen.
One other question, Christian, and I'll get out there. When the Bobby is coming in on the option as an edge guy, what's your read?
So you're gonna basically read your keys, right? So you're reading. You always have keys. So if you're an edge guy, typically you're responsible for the quarterback. I mean, unless there's different calls, like if you guys are running a stunt or something that could put you as a dive player, or if you're out in the apex and you're a dropper, you could be a pitch player. So it depends, but the rule is pretty much a traditional edge player is going to be a quarterback player, but you're not just staring at the quarterback. You got to go through the whole progression. So you always read through the tackle into the backfield. And so the reason you do that is your tackle is going to pretty much tell you everything you know. If your tackle is giving you a reach block, right, there's not really an option to go off of. That's not how that blocking scheme works. The tackle blocks down because you have to be the read guy. So as soon as he blocks down, your eyes have to transfer and you're immediately seeing the mesh point, but you also have to periph because sometimes you got pullers coming at you, right? You have to see that. Hence, I know somebody was asking about the shovel play. The reason you got to see that is shovel play, it looks like they're running like a speed option at you. And so sometimes guys go, they get antsy. They want to run up and go hit the quarterback. That's what they want you to do, not realizing they're about to just dump it off underneath. And if you don't close on that puller, there's a big gap that's opened up, and you just took yourself out of the play. So the biggest thing you have to do, Ram, is you have to always read your keys, which is always through the tackle, that tackle blocks down, transfer your eyes. But no, you're responsible for the quarterback, but you can be patient, right? It's kind of deceptive because you're thinking like, oh, man, I'm worried about Diego Pavia just outrunning me. But realistically, you got to sit and feather because you got to hold that space a little bit. We used to always even say, like, have like an arm on that tackle. That way you close down a little bit to take away the dive, the cutback. But then you play the quarterback, but you also have to just take a smart angle, right? So, like, while you're being patient, you don't want to run at him. You want to take that angle away, because if you run at him, you're probably going to get beat because he's more than likely a better athlete than you. If you run too flat, he can cut up and you're creating a hole. So you got to it's kind of a feel thing, but these guys should be doing a whole bunch of individual drills at practice where they literally go through that drill where they simulate a tackle blocking down, they immediately sit and feather, they close the space, and then they play down the line. And that's typically how you play that option attack. And as long as you read your keys and play it correctly and do your job, you can hold it to a minimum. They're obviously still they might make a play. The quarterback might outrun a guy. The guy might play the quarterback perfect, but the quarterback's a better athlete or breaks a tackle, right? That's going to happen. But the last thing you want is guys getting way out of position or a guy chasing something down the line and the quarterback keeps it and nobody's on the quarterback player. Now, what should have been maybe a 3 or 4 yard gain turns into a 25-yard gain. You got to limit those. And one thing I learned from last week is we've given up way too many explosive plays on the ground in the running game. And so that should be their goal this week, right? Obviously stopping the run, but limit the explosives, man. You can't have 6 plays going for 170 yards or whatever the case might have been. That's a terrible stat as a defense. And so we got to clean that part up.
They need to hire you as an analyst.
If I could work out the time constraints a little bit better.
Put you on retainer. Okay, buddy, I'll let you go.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Ram. Yes, sir. Have a great day, man. Good deal. All right. Sorry, guys. I couldn't hear him what he was saying a little bit, so it's hard for me to make out what he was getting at. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We wrap things up on this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
On the game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Thursday
Yeah, they definitely did. But like I said, man, I mean, it's really just a matter of just playing it the right way. I showed a clip of it yesterday with South Carolina. Hey, maybe we see something like this come up, man, right? Jam on the wheel route. Utah State, they hit them on a wheel route right here. I'm telling you, man, football is a game about oh, was I muted? Football is a game about matchups, man. Get a backer in that spot, man. See if they just happen to have a shovel pass here. We don't have much time, so I don't Be kind of hard to pull it up real quick, but I mean, what's Utah State doing in coverage right here? I mean, that make no sense. Sorry, I'm trying to see something on this play. So they're basically so remember we talked about quarterback GT, guard, tackle, pull, quarterback keeping it. So this is where it becomes a little difficult as a defense, right? But obviously this is why everybody's doing their job is important because, right, they're threatening you. Like they probably hit them on this or probably will hit them on this a couple of times at GT where he keeps it, right? Just like we saw Georgia do. But now this time they actually give it. And this is when I was talking about DBs being so critical in run support, right? This is why, because I mean, obviously that action alone, right, and all these backers, I mean, everybody, you have to respect that because they will keep that and Pavi will run that. But when he does pull it, though, this is you talk about like the corners and the safeties having to be in run support and do a good job. This is why, right? If you got guys being soft and not getting off blocks, you already see this guy. I mean, this backer, whoever he is, coming a little bit late. He's a step behind. Look how much of a gain, and that's exactly what happens. And then you see this guy hanging on a block. I mean, we got such a big secondary. There's no, I mean, you shouldn't let that happen, man. You see what I'm saying? So what should have been like a couple yards gain, again, they've got faking the quarterback counter, right? Quarterback GT counter. They hand it off, and they're hitting you on the perimeter. You best believe you're going to see this stuff, right? You're going to see our perimeter be tested. So our secondary, they got to be physical with all that, man. That's on them. That's on them. I mean, obviously trying to blow it up front, make them bounce a little bit more is important too. But yeah, Chase, let me know if we can do one of those recordings. They're supposed to have been getting us back to doing that. I don't know why it's not. There you go, RPO right there.
Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Real quick, if you guys haven't already, R&R Cigars is bringing back those custom victory cigars specifically for the Tennessee game, but you can go ahead and start getting them and getting ready for all that stuff. Good news is we got a code for you to use that where you guys can get a big discount, 20% off. Code Miller's Edge. That works on their website, rnrcigars.com. Again, I showed you guys sneak peek. I don't know if they've officially dropped them yet. So if they haven't, you guys got the early look at it. But make sure you guys check those out. They've got the cool football on the cigars. And again, the custom box is designed for it. So if you guys want a special smoke for that game or just to have them in general, they're really cool just for decoration, man. You got to check those out. Again, code Miller's Edge. Don't forget to use that code to get you 20% off your orders. Code Miller's Edge, rnrcigars.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Plus, we will be joined by Reagan of R&R Cigars tomorrow for his smoking hot picks. Again, we always like to do that with him. For all you guys that might like to have a little friendly wager here and there, you know, we like getting Reagan's perspective on some of the big matchups across college football that weekend. So we will do that tomorrow. That being said, we have one app message on here that I'll hit real quick because I know we needed to get back to doing those as well. He says, "Hey, you guys, how's it going?" I don't think he left his name on here because there's just a lot of letters and words and emojis. So I don't know if the phone might have glitched or something. I don't know. But he says, hey, you guys, how's it going? Just wanted to comment on the Vandy quarterback. He should be doing what he's doing. He's almost 26. He's talking smack to 18 to 21-year-olds. I think he's a bully. On the Georgia game, the score doesn't tell what really happened in the game. Georgia never led, and Bama basically did what they wanted to do, especially the offensive line. That's a couple things we'll break down here. So, is he actually 26, Chase? You gotta look that up. Hold on, let me pull up Diego Pavia's age real quick. I know he definitely is older. How old is Pavia? Let's see. He's a graduate. We know that. Born in 2001, April of 2001. So he is 24, I believe. Yeah, so he should be 24. But he is definitely older. That being said, in terms of us in the Georgia game, I almost could argue that, to be fair, you also could look at it from the perspective that, our offense was great in the first half, but second half we didn't score any points. You know what I mean? So there's a few ways, there are takeaways that you can have from the game. Which that also gives more credit to the defense, wherever you think about it. We're being critical of the number of yards given up, but defense did what they needed to do in the second half as well. So definitely a number of takeaways from that game. But I appreciate the message. I hate that I don't have your name on here. Just maybe the system messed up, but yeah, for the name, it's got just a whole bunch of letters, so I'm a little confused. But thank you, whoever sent in that message. That being said, we got to go ahead and start winding down to get out of here. I will say this: tomorrow we'll definitely get back to doing the predictions. So make sure you guys drop those predictions tomorrow, because when you do get the score right, we haven't had it yet, but when you do, you definitely get hooked up with sign ball and a lot of other cool little things I'll throw in there for you. So that is on the line. So make sure you guys check us out tomorrow on our Prediction Friday, Free for All Friday. We'll put a bow on everything. We'll definitely basically recap all the keys, all the matchups, all that good stuff for this matchup and get you guys ready the right way for this Vanderbilt game. 2:30 kick this Saturday here in Tuscaloosa. First SEC home game of the year. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. I definitely am, and looking forward to talking with you guys tomorrow right here on the Miller's Edge. Big thanks to Chase behind the glass, all our listeners, Tide 100.9 on YouTube and on Facebook as well. This has been the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. See you guys tomorrow.